Alright, this month we're going to talk about running. I just came from mine and I'm still dying. But obviously running's not the greatest topic to almost talk about, only because it's mostly on theories and movement and things like that. So what I've decided for this month is that we'll kind of touch base on different parts in each video. Meaning, let's talk a little bit about programming. For example, today let's talk about what you should focus for if you're a new runner. And one is aim for distance first. If you're trying to run a 5K, well, guess what? You got to build yourself up to a 5K, where around 2 weeks prior, you should be able to do 80% before that race comes in, which is the first thing. And one of the greatest ways to actually start writing a program for yourself like that would be volume-based training, meaning maybe 1 week you start aiming for a mileage of 10 miles in a week. The next week you start aiming for 15 miles. You see what I mean? That type of programming, but it has to be very detailed. And that comes later down the road. Now, that's easy to do for our end. It's easy to do if you're already a coach. It's easy to do for everybody else, but if you're a new runner or you've just never programmed in your life, might be a little difficult because you got to also taper off before your race day. And you got to be eating right. If you don't eat right, you're not going to have energy at all. And we've talked about that a bunch of times. Now, in this case, I want to get into a little bit of the biomechanical issues that they have out there. And one of my favorite ones that you get from runners all the times is my IT bands are tight. My knees hurt like hell. And it's like, what can you do about it? Well, one, we got to see whether it is your IT band. Okay, so it could also be your glutes that's not engaged in the IT bands. Or it could be your calves. Or you might have compartment syndrome. Or you might have all this other fun stuff. So just to keep it easy, I'm going to give you 2 movements today. Easy things that you could do just to see whether you're using too much of your IT fan, or my favorite muscle to say, tensor fascia lata. TFL. And one of the most famous movement screenings out there is your lovely over the heel step, right? Hurdle step, heel step, hurdle step. That one. And also your squats. Your squats will tell me right away whether you have too much external rotation. In English, that means whether your foot goes out more to the outside, laterally. Yeah, that one. So let me show you that. Don't get old, guys. All right, let's do a hurdle step. I ain't going to tell you how this works. I'm just going to show it to you and tell you what I see. So a nice hurdle step. Bar comes up to see if I see any segmentation of the upper body. Toes close by. Let's see if I'm a badass. And up. Heel down. Back in. And then let's do the other side. That was a little... Alright. So, I wasn't so bad. I think most of you guys would have gave me a 2. If you guys know what the movement screening is. But I wasn't so bad. If I were to see someone do this, alright, you're using a lot of IT band. You're getting your external rotators to actually move in for you to come over that hurdle just to cheat. Or we might actually see a little bit of this, where you might actually come at this end to help you. Well, that might be your distal portion of your IT band that is overly engaged. Well, now I know what's wrong with you. One, either you're extremely tight here, or this thing is not activated, your inner thighs, which happens a lot in runners. Because how do we run? We rotate the foot out, we try and pronate. Supinate. And that's not fun. After a while, your knees start to hurt like hell. How about a squat? Another movement where we get your overhead, boom, nice shoulder width apart, right? Feet shoulder width apart. And we're going to squat down. Make sure that you're not going out of place or anything. Okay, that's a 3. You got to admit, that's a 3. Okay? But if I notice you coming in and all of a sudden I see your foot do this, well, that's a sign of either this overactivating or your IT bands again. Those are some easy stuff. There are other things that I could probably narrate in detail wise, but I wanted to keep it simple for you guys today. And I only want to talk about those lateral muscles, which hurt like hell, especially for runners. Baseball players, you're famous for that. If you're righty, your left foot is going to feel it. If you're lefty, your right foot's going to feel it. And a lot of things. So, how the hell do we fix this? Well, one, you got to release that IT band, that TFL, those external rotators. You got to tell them to stop blocking the hell out. That's one. And that's going to save your knee pain big time. So either manual therapy, foam rolling, nice amount of stretching. Guys, I'm not going to lie, but the manual therapy, if you do it, Graston technique, it's one of the best ones that you can do out there. Kinesio taping for neuromuscular re-education, or our favorite, rock tape. Right on the side, just to learn how to walk a little better. Because remember, that's another thing. When you walk, some of you guys don't even notice this, but you end up walking bow-legged. You know, when you walk bow-legged, all you're really doing is teaching these things to reactivate. And we don't want that. So one, be conscious of when you walk. Try and keep your toes straight, at least that part. There's more other complicated factors with walking. I'm not going to get into that detail because some of you might have flat foot, some of you might have high arches, some of you might be a lot of crazy stuff. Don't worry. But for now, let's just focus on that lateral side. And those are some ways of fixing it. Just manual therapy, stretching it out, doing that. Strengthening your inner thighs. Your VMO, your pectineus, your magnus longus, magnus brevis. You got so many different muscles in there that we don't even use because we're so damn lazy. So one, some VMO training, some inner thigh training, and less IT band and TFL training. Kind of like your shuffles. I remember this one person told me that you had to do shuffles to fix that issue. Yeah, they're still living in pain. They're still living in pain. But again, those are some ideas. And I'll be happy to show you guys some exercise. Again, for us, I want you to comment, ask us what exercises we could do for it. There are a bunch of different things that we could do for it. There are a bunch of different techniques out there. There's so many things. You have no idea. And today we're just like scratching the surface. Next week, I'll talk about another piece of the pyramid scheme of how to program for running. Let's talk about a little bit of speed next time and maybe another injury. But today, let's keep it simple. Again, send a comment below. Talk to me a little bit. Let's see what's going on. And we'll get back to you as soon as we can. All right? Latest. Where's the end of this thing? Okay, here it is.